Step in the ring, feel the adrenaline rush, throwing fists and kicks, the pain we can't hush. And MMA fighters, we're the real tough guys, breaking down barriers, we aim for the skies. Into the octagon, like a warrior I stand, slaying blows, taking hits as I command. The art of combat, I'm ready to go. Submission, knockout, that's how I flow. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling with my golden octagon. The stage we ignite. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling like a golden octagon. The stage we ignite.
And we are live. Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast with your hosts, Matt and D. Rose.
And what is going on, everyone? Welcome to the last Golden Octagon MMA Podcast of the year. My name is Matt. On this side of your road, on this side of your screen is cousin and D Rose this week, and the D stands for don't get abducted, because it seems like this world is crazy things are happening. There's drones everywhere. This week the D stands for drone. I guess what's happening in this world, D Rose? I'm not sure. Are we going to make it to next year? I guess we'll find out. We all gotta stick around and see. How you been over the past week, man?
Yeah, hoping to maybe meet some aliens, stuff like that. Maybe that's who that is, trying to get a vibe on what's going on Earth over here. So maybe they're just getting their little spy on, since we've been trying to invade their space for so long, thanks to Elon Musk and them guys. But no, everything's been great over here. Health is good, wealth is good, all that stuff. Can't complain. But man, I know in terms of FanDuel, man, I took a big fat L this weekend. I did hit Cub Swanson, and we'll get into it, but a lot of my picks were correct. But dude, I swear I end up parlaying the wrong stuff. Like I had Sean Woodson and Padilla to start round 2. It's like just dumb stuff like that, when it's like, just do Sean Woodson money line, man. I mean, he was like minus 164 by the time the fight started. Just do that and keep it moving. Quit trying to get cute. And I got a couple times like that this weekend, just trying to get cute.
Yeah, dude, I feel you. I wasn't even trying to get cute this weekend. I was just wrong a lot this weekend. Not gonna lie. Not even gonna say it any other way besides, I was just wrong this weekend. But going into the weekend, I think me and you kind of knew it was going to be one of those cards where some dogs were going to win and some big dogs were going to win, because there was so many fights that they seemed to be close fights, but the odds just were so far apart. And I went with a few dogs, you went with a few dogs, but I seem to be the one on the losing end of going with the dogs this week. You seem to pick all the right dogs. So before we get into it, D-Rose, let's shout out the chat real quick, and then we will jump into the show, which will be our UFC Tampa recap. Unfortunately, I've got to eat some beans, and I'm going to stick to my word, and I'm going to eat all of them, even though I don't want to, but I'm going to.
You're going to take them all down, guys?
And then we've got our UFC news and fight announcements to go over. Thankfully, that'll be the last time I eat beans here on the show, because I'm not doing next year. we got to find something else. I'm just not doing it. And then after that, we are going to go over our 2024, the Golden Octagon 2024 MMA Awards. Me and D Rose, I think it's 8 awards total for each of us. Yeah, I believe so. 8 awards. Fighter of the year, fight of the year, knockout of the year, sub of the year, comeback of the year, and a few more. So if you guys want to stick around, it'll be the most fun part of the show. At least I think so. So with that being said, let's shout out the chat real quick, and then let's get into the show. We got Antoine here. Yo, let's go, boys. Shout out Antoine for stopping by here, becoming one of our regular viewers here on the channel. We got Austin in here with the what's up?
What's up?
What's up, Austin?
What's up?
Antoine saying, "Let's get it, boys. I love these Wednesday nights, man. You guys have a really chill vibe. I appreciate it, Antoine.
Yes, sir.
You are
sir.
cool
Appreciate
as well, man. Yeah, you're one of the cool people in the chat. There's not always a lot of cool people in the chat. There's a few, haters that come in here. D-Ro is going to get probed in 2025. Crazy. We're almost one step closer to 2030. Apparently, UFC 400 will be in 2031. Wild, dude. The time just flies, dude. Time just flies.
Yeah.
My parlay had nuts in it. So after that, I died and went to work with a couple other but a couple others hit pretty decent. That's what's up, Jeff K. Yeah, most of my parlays had Josephine nuts in it as well. I know D Rose got burned by it as well. I just did not see that coming this past weekend, but we'll talk about it. Do you guys think Cub will call it a career? I personally think so. I think he should, but man, it just kind of seems like fighters, once they get that last hit, they kind of seem to want to, let me go one more time. And then it's like they lose and they're like, I just want to win again. And then they win again. And then they're like, I just won. I can still compete. So it's always this tough game. So I guess we'll see. What do you think, Gross?
I tell you, Brendan Fitzgerald definitely wanted Cub Swanson to retire because, he could not have mentioned it less than 30 times. Every single moment, dude. it like Cub Swanson would land a punch, and Brendan Fitzgerald would be like a crack of a right hand from the maybe could be retiring Cub Swanson. He could be, guys. He just had to make sure, every single time he mentioned Cub Swanson's name, that hey, he could be potentially retiring. So if I'm listening to Brendan Fitzgerald, Cub is absolutely done. But yeah, he's kind of half foot in, half foot out. But he did say that, he is managing and stuff like that now. And he's trying to manage fighters, trying to train fighters and stuff like that now. So, trying to get back to the sport and, trying to spend more time with his family because he has his kids and stuff like that now. But, his boys are pretty young that he's trying to raise. So he's got everything in terms of outside the octagon to not return. But, man, that adrenaline, especially if it's the right matchup, man, I could very well see him coming back to say, hey, maybe one more.
I agree. Would have really hit if I didn't edit my bet and change Woodson to Padilla like a damn fool. Dude got folded. Yeah, dude. We'll talk about it, but man, Fernando Padilla would just had no defense this past week. He just kept walking forward, just getting blasted. It's like, hey, what's happening? You've never fought like this before. Why are you doing that? But it is what it is. We got Dave, and he loves ho-ho-hos. All right.
In different area codes.
Yeah, Coach should call it a career, says Dave. D-Rose, what's on your chin, bro? Cub is really already all in favor. I think he'll be done. Why does this channel not get any live traction? You guys need to lay into Jesse on Fire or MMA Joey, get a feud going. I think I just I don't know. I'm not interested in drama. I'm just here to have fun with D Rose and in the chat. I'm not gonna call anyone out or anything like that. No point in it. I prefer the organic views, House of Cardboard, because, all those people are going to come here for all the drama. And then what? Then they're going to want drama every week. I'm not doing drama. I don't do that. Speaking of Woodson, I think he gets ranked opponents in 2025. He's in his prime at 32. He is, doing something dirty to that entire featherweight division right now. There's that meme that I sent you summed it up perfectly.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, crossing fools up left and right. Yeah, based on that video. But nah, dude, he looks great right now.
Indeed. So we got through the chat. With that being said, heroes, let's get into the fights this past weekend. So we've got our UFC Tampa recap. And this past weekend, Joaquin Numanza Buckley did knock out Colby Covington. Colby Covington. It was doctor stoppage. Was it? During the third round. I'm surprised they let the third round start, to be honest. But Colby Covington did have a cut like on his eyelid. And it didn't help that every time they fixed it, Colby was like pulling his eye down, like almost like making it worse. Like, hey, dumbass, stop. So was it bothering him? Or was he trying to get out of that fight, dude? I don't really know. I know, like, it's odd to say that he was trying to get out of the fight because he's getting punched in the face. Like, I think if he just wanted out of the fight, he just would have, got punched and then kind of just fell down and like, all right, I'm done. So it's not like I think he like wanted out of the fight, but it was a weird action to keep doing over and over. So it had to have really been bothering him. But yeah, Joaquin Numanza Buckley does get the knockout win in the third round. I'm not disappointed. That fight went pretty much how I thought it was going to go. Did Joaquin knock out Colby Covington, cold? No, but I thought he was probably going to knock out Colby Covington. And this is the same thing for me. I didn't really need to see anything more. So what's your thoughts on the main event this past weekend, D-Rose?
Yeah, no, I thought Joaquin Buckley, I thought he looked, fantastic. It was a step up for him in terms of, the way that Colby matches up with everybody. He uses his wrestling, his cardio and pace and, really tries to put that out on guys. But Buckley really hasn't fought anybody like that at 170 just yet. So, I mean, you could say Bruzaboyev to a certain extent, but I wouldn't necessarily say so. But yeah, no, I think this is the toughest matchup style-wise. Style-wise, it was a switch up in mid-camp because he was, Buckley was getting ready for Ian Gary. Then he had to switch it up and get ready for Colby, and he still looked great. Those body shots that he was throwing was absolutely ferocious. It was just like every single time he landed, even with a crowd there cheering him on, you can hear the impact of those shots that Buckley was landing every single time. And it was because of those shots that he was landing was why Colby ended up getting busted up so bad. And it was clear that it was bothering Colby, just the way that he was, going at it. I mean, he was getting blood in his eye because there was a point to where I think it was in the second round when his head was on the mat when they were having an exchange and wrestling on the ground. Dude, there was literally a puddle of blood leaking from Colby's eye out on the octagon floor. So I can very well understand how, that would be something that would be irritating to him. But I do think that, as far as the stoppage, it was a good stoppage. I just thought it ended up playing out perfectly to how Colby would want it, because this is his way to say, oh, well, the doctor ended up coming in and stopping it. I was just coming on there late in the fight and blah, blah, blah. I was about to break him. I just feel it, So it was a perfect out for Colby. I would have loved to have seen Joaquin Buckley really been able to put it on Colby. And I wanted to see Buckley go into the fourth and fifth round. But it was the right stoppage at the end of the day, because at the beginning of the third round, the ref or the doctor told him, hey, protect this cut or we're going to stop this. And they ended up doing it.
And he is pulling it open. All right, you're doing the opposite of what they told you to do. But yeah, all right.
He's literally it was making it worse, that's for sure. But dude, with as much blood it was leaking, dude, I could 1000% understand. Dude, if a lot of that blood's in his eye, I just couldn't imagine how irritable that would be.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Colby even taking this fight, dude? Because it was also short notice for him too, because it was he didn't have a fight scheduled like or anything. So I'm surprised that he even took this fight to begin with.
I was too, and I will say that he hasn't made many excuses. He did say in the Leon fight that he had broke his foot. Colby did, and in the first 30 seconds or whatever. He's got the eye issue to blame this time. But in terms of injuries or anything like that, I haven't seen where he's made any excuses in terms of what really set him back or not. Um, yeah, I was really surprised that he ended up taking the fight. To be honest, I was really surprised, but maybe the UFC ended up just calling him and saying, "Hey, we'll up the bag. We just need somebody to step in." And I guess being in Florida, didn't have to go too far because I guess he still lives in Florida. Yeah, it was just something that was easy, kind of right around the corner. And if they bumped up his pay, I guess why not?
Yeah, makes sense. All right, so let's move on down to the co-main event at featherweight. Cub Swanson taking on Billy Quarantillo. Yeah, I pretty much picked this fight to end in the third round. I just picked the wrong fighter to win in the third round. I thought Billy Q was going to end up probably submitting Cub Swanson in the third round. I thought he was going to use his wrestling, which we haven't really seen from him a whole lot in his past two fights. And he's still I feel like to beat Cub Swanson, you got him take him down. And it's like he tried, but at the end of the day, you see Billy Q laid out cold with his arms flopped back on the octagon floor. I believe I have it in the thumbnail here. Yeah, Cub Swanson arms up, and you can't really see Billy Q, but he's back there snoozing on the floor. Yeah, this was for the pick champ. Wait, no, this was not for the pick champ. This could have been for the pick champ. I would have been wrong either way. But yeah, Cub Swanson gets a third round knockout. What's your thoughts on this fight? Or yeah, give it to me.
Yeah, honestly, this fight played out just how I thought it would. I thought it would be a little bit of a brawl. Billy Q just, he tried to use his wrestling a little bit, but one thing I will say, he won't exhaust himself. If he can't get the takedown within the first couple of exchanges, he will disengage and just start getting back to, kind of boxing and using the pressure. So I expected this fight to be a little bit more of a slugfest. Cubs still at 40, man. I knew he would have the speed advantage, and he 1000% did. I mean, in the first round, he was almost looking like Manel Kopp, and we'll get into Manel Kopp, obviously as well. But yeah, Cub Swanson was kind of dancing around him a little bit, kind of doing a little bit of the not fade away, but kind of stepping back and all this stuff and landing big right hands. I thought Billy Hughes came back in the second round strong, and I thought it was actually 1-1 going into that third round. So I thought, whoever was going to have to win the fight was really going to have to bite down in that round. And Billy Hughes just takes too many clean shots, man. I mean, I love him as far as what he brings. All his fights are entertaining for the most part, but that dude just takes a lot of damage. And Cub Swanson, for him to be at 40, he's still got a lot of speed. He's still got some good power. And just a clean 1-2, just clean as can be. Having the little standover with the arms out because he knew he was out from the one punch. It was just absolutely clean. And man, I'm not gonna lie, I was pumped watching Cub Swanson get that big KO because I actually put a straight bet on Cub Swanson round 3 or decision. It was like plus 250 when I ended up getting it. So pretty good bet. But
yeah, I just wish we would get to see like another Robbie Lawler moment, like where they go out there, get a knockout, and they lay the gloves down, and like, all right, you can't take shit away from me. But it's almost like these fighters, they just want to lose again, dude. They just want to lose again.
Yeah, I mean, and that's honestly, that would be the perfect moment for him to walk out on. That type of a KO. After getting into a dog fight, because we know the type of fights that Cub Swanson gets into. It was a dog fight, just kind of like a throwback Cub Swanson fight. He gets a signature 1-punch knockout. Gets the poster afterwards where he's standing over the guy. His kids, I don't know if you saw that, but his kids were watching on TV, and his sons were doing like one was laying on the ground acting like he was Billy Q, and the other one was acting like Cub Swanson standing over him, man. So I mean, you got this moment to kind of hang your cap on. if it's me, man, I'd ride off into the sunset, especially considering what he's got going on outside the octagon. But as you said, you get that hit, man, and it's hard to it's hard to put it down once you're on that high, man. So I would love to see Cub hang him up, but he's also a fun fighter too. So if it's the right matchup, I mean, I'm always down to watch him fight.
And do you think Billy Q retires after this, or he gets cut?
I don't think he'll get cut. I do think the UFC likes him, but I wouldn't be upset if he was to retire too, because I mean, it's not like he's the youngest guy, and he's been getting a couple like the old guy legacy type matchups. I think you can maybe do stuff like that. You can maybe match him up against like Jim Miller. He's already fought Damon Jackson, but you could put him
Nate
up against
Train. Give him up against Nate the Train. He's been calling out Billy Q for the longest.
Yep. There you go. There you go. That's the perfect fight. That is the perfect fight right there. Billy Q and Nate Landwehr. Honestly, if the UFC doesn't do that, like, they're absolutely tripping. That's got to be the fight to make. You 1000% nailed that.
He's been calling him out for the longest, dude. He just wants Billy Q. All right. So move on down. Manel Kape versus Bruno Silva. We were both on Manel Kape, and man, he looked way better than what I think either of us thought he was going to look, dude. Manel Kape was in there styling on Bruno Silva, dude. Bruno Silva had no chance Saturday to win, even in the slightest. Like, it was like Manel Kape. I saw him do the Sean O'Malley taunt during the fight. I saw him do the Israel Adesanya taunt during the fight. He was doing some other shit too. Like, Manel Kape looks so good Saturday. If he was to fight like that every single fight, like, people would be fans of him. But he's usually doing that same thing, like acting like he's winning, but throwing no punches. So I'm glad he threw some punches and threw some kicks, this past weekend, and he looked good doing so. Shout out Manel Kape. Gets the 3rd round knockout over Bruno Bulldog Silva. What's your thoughts on this fight, man?
Yeah, no, I thought, for the performance that Manel Kape had, I mean, I picked Manel Kape, but I told you I wasn't super confident because we've seen Manel Kape be very up and down, and we were sold that he was a guy coming from Rising who was this absolute killer. He was knocking everybody out, and admittedly, he fought Pantoja in his first fight in the UFC. Looking back on that now, I mean, that's a pretty tough fight. His second fight
was confused why he didn't win.
Yeah, when he clearly lost. Like, it was a clear 30-27, but he's like, yeah, like, no, you lost, dude. Like, no doubt about it, you lost. But no, we were sold that he was this killer, this guy, and we haven't really seen that from him too much outside of maybe the Ode Osborne knee. But I thought, just in terms of him just flowing, the striking, the confidence, the swagger, he had the full package. He was fully on. This was the guy that I think that, a lot of people are hyped to see coming into the UFC. It was his best performance to date by far. And Bruno Silva was a dude who, we had even acknowledged coming in on a 4-fight win streak, all finishes at flyweight. And that's very tough to do, to get that many finishes at flyweight alone, as a whole, let alone in a row. So this is good, a competition that Manel Kape was really able to take advantage of. And, just in terms of him taking over the mic afterwards, I think a lot of people were really pumped about that. Him, shouting out that still got beef with Kai and Brandon Moreno and Izzy. And then, of course, everybody loved the reaction from Izzy when he does the.
Izzy was like, "What I do?
Why'd you say why'd you say fuck me for? Like, what I do? Like, it literally, dudes is eating food, like, acknowledging that you're balling. But I loved Izzy's response to it, though. That was absolutely hilarious. That was one of the funnier moments. But yeah, Kape, dude, great performance. I don't know if he gets the title shot. I don't necessarily think so, but definitely his best performance today by far. I think he's probably at least one fight away.
And if they make Kai versus Kape for #1 contender, who are you picking, D-Rose?
KK's my guy, so I
I
can't.
know.
I mean, I know I picked Usyk to go against him last time, but and now that was not super confident, but yeah, I'm not going against Kai again.
Fair enough. Cop 2031 is the last time I think you should fight Brandon for number one contender. I would go Cop
Which one?
in that. You know which one, D Rose. Yeah, so we'll move
it could
on.
be either or. It could be
I
either
know.
or Royval or
But I think,
Moreno.
but like Moreno just now looked really good, I think, against like Albazi. So I think that's probably more fresh on everyone's mind.
I mean, Royval and Tyra. I mean, that was a barn burner of a fight.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't say he won the fight, but it wasn't impressive. Like Tyra had a lot of moments in that fight. Like, like he don't deserve the number one contender spot, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna move on. Vitor Petrino versus Dustin Jacoby. This one was for the pick champ. This one decided it for the pick champ. This one makes me have to eat beans this week. It sucks, but dude, Vitor Petrino was winning the fight, and then just got Kamaru Usman when he fought Jorge Masvidal, dude. Just hit him so clean and dropped just like Jorge Masvidal did in the third round, dude. And just like that, I was like, well, looks like I'm eating a box of beans this week. What's your thoughts on Vitor Petrino versus Dustin Jacoby? And can you try to leave out the one line of, you can't believe that I picked Vitor Petrino? Can you just don't say that?
Well, it's going to be really hard for me to not say that, but I will say now you understand why I've never ever picked this dude outside of one time in a fight and in his UFC career. And honestly, I'll say this fight was absolute doo-doo. Like, this fight was absolute doo-doo. It was not a good fight. The crowd was booing. Of course, he had the capstone moment with the knockout at the end, but it was a boring fight, but a great knockout. I just always thought that Vitor Petrino, and I don't want to hear like fraud check or anything like that. I just thought that
I think Anthony Smith already did that.
And some people will say, well, he just got
that was me. Like, anyone can get caught in a guillotine, so that was my thought. That was my thought.
Yeah, so some people were saying that exactly that, and then I've heard some people say after this fight, well, Petrino got fraud checked. I just kind of thought that he's a little bit younger in his career, and he hasn't really faced too much adversity yet, because every time he's kind of faced adversity, it hasn't really played out too well for him. I mean, Jacoby didn't really present too much to him, just because it was a very slow fight. But there in the third round, you can see Jacoby was trying to press the gas a little bit and was trying to, go for that knockout. And he ended up, finally kind of pressing that button and ended up putting Petrino out. Highlight reel knockout. Contender for knockout of the year for sure. One punch knockout like that was absolutely nasty. But yeah, unfortunately, that fight was absolutely dog water before that knockout. It did make me jump out of my seat, though. I will say that. Like, when it happened, like I was like, man, this fight is over. Yo! And I just jumped out of my seat as soon as it happened. So it was
fucking D-Rose was mad that whole fight. Like, God damn, I might have to eat these damn beans. Like, he just pissed off, and then the knockout happened. He's like, yes.
I will say I was pumped about that, but dude, I have no idea. I know you said you felt like Petrino was winning, dude. I have no idea who was winning that fight. Like, if they told me that it went to a split decision and Dustin Jacoby got a weird 30-27 card, like, would I even be surprised? No, I wouldn't have, because that fight was absolutely that awful. Neither guy was doing that much at all.
Yeah. So moving on, dude, we've got Adrian Yanez taking on Daniel Marcos, dude. I have one takeaway from this fight, dude. Adrian Yanez, I don't think he needs to go down to 125, but I think he needs to put on some mass, some muscle, dude, because just the optics when he gets hit, dude, it looks so bad. Like, it's just like he gets hit and his head like flies this way. It's just not good optics. Like, it almost kind of looks like if he was to maybe just put on a little size, like he could like maybe hold up to the punches just a little bit and maybe increase his own like punching power, like just a little bit too. But will it take away from his speed? I don't know. What's your thoughts? Because I almost feel like Adrian Yanez's past 4 fights have not. Dude, when he came in the UFC, dude, he was snoozing everyone in impressive fashion. And then these past 4 fights, it was, I
His
actually
defense is
messaged it to you.
terrible.
I actually
Dude,
messaged it
his
to you,
defense
dude.
is awful.
I actually messaged it to you. I was like, dude, is this Kevin Lee all over again? Because, not trying to like make fun of it like or anything, but both fighters were great when they first came into the UFC, and then they lost their head coach. And then they're kind of like looking around and they think they found a new head coach, but it almost seems like, I don't know, it's just not the same, I guess. And I hope Adrian Yanez can find a home, find a strategy, because he's a fun fighter, dude. Delivers highlight reel knockouts, so fun to watch. But man, I don't seeing him get beat up like that. It's just like, man, did you not expect this? Did you not expect this? Because that's how Daniel Marcos fights. That's how Daniel Marcos fights every single time. He didn't do anything different. And Adrian Yanez hurt him like on a couple like occasions too. It was almost just like I can't even explain what happened. It was just a little sad to see. Well, one of your favorite fighters just getting beat up, dude. And you're like, there ain't shit he can do. It just looks bad. Yeah. What's your thoughts on this fight, man?
Yeah, no, definitely. I felt the same. I was definitely, especially there in the third round when Marcos was just holding on for dear life on the ground. I mean, Marcos was absolutely gassed and was doing everything he could to just try to hold Adrian Yanez down, even to the point where when Adrian Yanez did end up getting up after a little bit from getting held down, with like a minute and a half left, there was still a very good chance that Yanez could have won that fight. And when Marcos is literally just walking around with his hands down, just kind of like wiping his nose off, I'm like, dude, if Adrian Yanez does not throw a head kick, dude, I'm like, dude, throw a freaking head kick, because he had a KO like that early in his, like, I think it was his first official UFC fight. He cut off a guy on the cage like that who kept trying to run, and he just threw a head kick and knocked him out. I'm like, dude, please throw a head kick, something. Like, he is literally walking with his hands down, not even looking at you. And, Adrian Yanez, I know he was tired, and I know he was a little bit cautious for the takedown, but I don't even know if Adrian Yanez really threw a strike there in that last minute, when I really thought that he could have won the fight, based off that round right there. So, and his defense, he was just getting tagged with a lot of big shots. I mean, Marcos is a good fighter, so I'm not going to sit here and act like he's not a good fighter, but for me personally, being a Yanez fan, I thought there were moments that he could have really stepped on the gas to win that fight, and really ended up there, especially in that last minute in the third round. Really thought he dropped the ball there to not really execute to take advantage.
I agree. Navajo Sterling, Tukos. Yeah, I thought Navajo Sterling had a chance to knock out Tuco in the first round. And in the second round, Tuco had Navajo Sterling's back, and I was like, let me go to Food Lion in the meantime, because this is probably going to end. This entire round's going to be here. So I actually plugged it up in my truck on the way to Food Lion, and I was 100% correct. He was on his back the entire rest of the round. And then in the third round, it was like, I think both fighters were kind of too tired to really do anything for the most part. You got anything on Navajo Sterling versus Tukos?
Yeah, not too much outside of Navajo Sterling is early in his career. What is he? 5-6 fights in his career so far.
6-0 now. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's still very green. So he's going to have a chance to be able to grow into his game, but yeah, definitely not the most flattering fight this past weekend. That's for sure.
Yeah. And before we move to the prelims, D-Rose should have to eat beans until he gets a battle to make up for beans.
Nah, we good, player. We good.
Agreed.
We rested on the picks. Hey, I told you what I was going to do if I had lost, but we came through with the dub.
I think UFC wall has hit him. Once they get a taste of those bad losses, confidence starts to fluctuate. We got Sugar Ray saying Anthony Smith, that's messed up. Sugar Ray, don't say that. Jeff saying that's not funny.
Oh, that's dirty.
All right, so let's move on to the prelims. Michael Johnson knocks out Otman Azatar in the second round, dude. This one busted a whole bunch of my bets because I had this going over a round and a half, dude, and we were 13 seconds away from going, or 18 seconds away from going over a round and a half. So it hurts. Just like one of those ones where the worst part is the fight to start round 2 wasn't even that much different. So it just burns. It just burns. What's your thoughts on Michael Johnson getting the second round knockout? And man, there's one person that should retire. It's this guy, dude. It's like you are so inconsistent, Michael Johnson. You just now won. Just hang him up, dude. Just hang him up. And on the other end, Otman Azatar, dude. That dude's got no fucking chin. Like every time Michael Johnson was touching him, his eyes were like got huge, and he was like, "Oh shit, which one of y'all just hit me? Why y'all letting the other people in the octagon hit me?" It almost looks like he was so confused, like what just hit me. So yeah, that dude just bad, dude. But to be honest, he's never really been the best fighter in the world, though. But what's your thoughts, Michael Johnson versus Otman Azatar? Potato power.
Yeah, Azatar's just been literally just a first round brawler. Like he just steps on the gas, and if he doesn't get the finish in the first round, he just literally just walks forward and just wings. Or if he just doesn't get the finish at all, he just walks forward and wings until he just dies on the shield. So I will give him that. Like in terms of how he loses, like he will be a great person on the end of another person's highlight reel. Like him getting knocked out by, I think it was Favola, and this one as well. I mean, it was one of Michael Johnson's best KOs, just to come off with that clean right hook. Dude, Michael Johnson's hands, even at 38, his hand speed is still crazy. So good performance from Michael Johnson. Nasty KO. And he's talking about calling out Casey. So, yeah, you want to talk about somebody who's not done is Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson said he's still going.
I know. I wish he would hang him up though, but it just don't look like it. Antoine let us know. Don't forget, Azatar was cut for speculation of PEDs after UFC 254.
It was potatoes.
Potatoes.
Yeah, bro.
Anyway. My biggest call on the card, and I was right. This saved me from getting clean sweeped, but it didn't matter this week. I told you if I lost, I was gonna down the rest of the box. Joel Alvarez versus Jakar Close. This is one where it's hard for me to hold my tongue and say I can't believe you picked Jakar Close, but Joel Alvarez just absolutely fucking smokes Jakar Close. Not even close, dude. And I was like, I'm surprised Joel Alvarez finished. I think it was like plus 160, maybe like at worst, like minus 120. I was like, that should have been the only thing on this entire card that I bet. Like that and Joaquin Buckley knockout. Like if I would have paired Joel Alvarez finish, Joaquin Buckley knockout, and just belonged to this like fight past weekend, I would have made so much money because those are the two plays that I had the most confidence on. But at the same time, I also had a lot of confidence in Josephine Knudsen via decision. And so I would have got fucked either way because I would have threw that one in there too. Yeah, what's your thoughts on Joel Alvarez doing the nasty to Jakar Close? Don't forget, he got pushed by that Jeremy Stevens. I mean, he got knocked out by that Jeremy Stevens push not too long ago.
Yeah, I mean, but dude, Jakar
I gotta get my
Close,
charger.
I mean, we know Jakar Close to be a good fighter, man. So for Joel Alvarez to go out there and do what he did to Jakar Close like that, I mean, dude, that's a very good performance. Yeah, dude, Joel Alvarez, I almost felt uncomfortable watching him to a certain extent because like it's so clear that like he's such a weight bully. Like this, like dude, he is 10 times bigger than everybody else that he's fighting, and it's not even fair. At least he seems to have the weight cut down under control now. He's not going in a bunch of pounds overweight like he did against Thiago Moises back in the day. But yeah, it's just crazy to see the size of Joel Alvarez compared to his opponents. It's absolutely crazy. But the dude is an absolute finisher, so he's super fun to watch, man.
Yeah, indeed. And talk about size over an opponent. He usually has it. He didn't have it this past weekend. Sean Woodson taking on Fernando Padilla. Sean Woodson's got a crazy body, dude. We talk about it every time he fights. Got these crazy long legs with like a short torso. And the meme that I sent you with the guy playing soccer was like, dude, this is like Sean Woodson if he didn't cut weight. Like, what is he doing? Like,
it's like all legs.
I wish I could find it so I could put it up and share it with you guys, but I don't know. I don't know where it's at. But it was perfect. Yeah, Sean Woodson did the dirty to Fernando Padilla in the first round. This is one of the ones that I had, I think go over. But dude, Fernando Padilla just looked like he had never practiced defense in his entire life, dude. He was just walking forward, just his head was just getting bounced back. It's like, hey, put your goddamn hands up. Like, what's happening? And then at the end of the first round, he just ends up just getting folded, dude. Like, almost not quite Billy Q Cub Swanson, but damn near close, dude. Well, what's your thoughts on Sean Woodson, Fernando Padilla? And I know you're going to say, I'm surprised you didn't pick Sean Woodson this past week. Because I've heard that one a lot too.
Yes, because that is your guy. I told you last week I was surprised that you picked Padilla and not Sean Woodson because to me, I thought that's how that fight could have potentially played out. Because Padilla is, in terms of striking, he uses a little bit more of his boxing than he does any kicks. Any guy that I've ever seen Sean Woodson have a little bit of struggle with, like Saldana and even Charles Jourdain to a certain extent, are guys that can, use kicks in their game. Anybody if you're just going to go in there and just straight up box Sean Woodson, then Sean Woodson's probably going to piece you up, especially if you're not going to use your defense at all. Because Sean Woodson's is really good at using his range. Dude, he was even chopping Padilla down with leg kicks there. I mean, had Padilla like just kind of stumbling all over and falling all over himself and stuff. And that finishing sequence from Sean Woodson was just absolutely beautiful. I mean, that looks like a UFC combo to throw the uppercut, then the hook behind it. Sent him stumbling. He switches stance so he's standing orthodox, throws the uppercut hook, switches the southpaw with the right hook with the left to follow. Dude, that finishing sequence was a thing of beauty from Sean Woodson. To finally get a great finish like that. Because as you were saying going into this week, dude, we hadn't really seen much of a finishing ability from Sean Woodson. That was the finish that he needed to get people really excited about him potentially moving up in the division.
I agree, dude. I agree 100%. Shout out the sniper, Sean Woodson. He's born ready. Don't forget it. Yeah, we got Miles Johns taking on Felipe Lima. Yeah, dude. I think Saturday morning, I just felt it, dude. I was like, I'm wrong on this fight. I'm just wrong on this fight. Because I did pick Miles Johns, but I didn't feel great about it. But I think after the weigh-ins and the face-offs, I was like, oh, dude, Felipe Lima. I thought Miles Johns was going to be the same size as the dude or a little bit bigger than the dude. But when we saw the face-offs, I was like, dude, what the hell? Like, dude, I have one name to describe Felipe Lima, who is a bantamweight fighter that did fight at featherweight this past weekend. But he reminds me so much of Diego Lopez, dude. It's like they're kind of one and the same. They kind of got that same fight style, dude. They're kind of Like, they're big, dude. They throw hooks, uppercuts. They're dogs. They go for the finish nonstop, dude. Felipe Lima was going for that submission, dude. In that third round, he was going for it. So I think Felipe Lima has now won me over in his second fight in the UFC. I know you picked him both times now, so he don't really have to win you over. You've already picked him in both of his fights, but he's won me over now, dude. What's your thoughts on Miles Johns, Felipe Lima?
Yeah, no, I'll say that I figured that Felipe Lima would win, but I will say that he has looked more and more impressive, each time he's gone in there. As I think the comparison is there a little bit with Diego Lopez. I think in terms of their aggression, I could definitely see that, because it's like I know you say the similar thing about Hamzat. Like, when they fight, like they are bad out of hell. Like, they are just foot on the gas, put on the pressure. Just throwing any type of strikes or putting on that pressure. Yeah, Felipe Lima definitely has that type of mentality to him, man. And it was a little bit of a. I'm not gonna say it was a little bit of a slower fight, but no, it was definitely I'm sorry, sitting over here. Got a little frog. It was a good fight from Lima, and I'm definitely excited to see what he can do. Hopefully, he can actually fight down at bantamweight, because this is the second time that he's having to take a fight at featherweight. Because they did actually ask him after the fight, "Well, hey, you fought so many times at featherweight. Are you going to fight here?" And he's like, "No, man. I'm a natural 135er, so I will fight at 135 for my next fight." So, but I'll definitely be excited to see Lima up next.
Man, he's going to be huge at 135, too. We got Miranda Fear, the Maverick, defeating Jamie Lynn Horth via decision, as we thought she should, but at minus 185, I think minus 285 for her to win via decision. I'm like, well, what are you going to do with that? Any thoughts on this fight, man?
I'm sorry, I'm not gonna lie. I was looking down at what fight was it again?
Miranda Maverick, Jamie Lynn Horth.
Yeah, not too strong of thoughts. I mean, it was kind of like a Miranda Maverick performance here as of late. Not too exciting, but still able to escape. So yeah.
And our last two, Davy Grant, Ramon Tavares. Davy Grant gets the decision win. Yeah, it was almost like Ramon Tavares just couldn't find his way in on Davy Grant. Any thoughts on Davy Grant, Ramon Tavares?
Davy Grant really dominated from beginning to end. He was stabbing him with those teep kicks, and like you said, Ramon Tavares really just couldn't find his way in. Just getting tagged from distance the whole time, and dude, Davy Grant looks really good. So vintage Davy Grant.
Terrible. Goodness. Yeah. And that was the one that finished out the pick champ for us. So like Ramon Tavares versus Davy Grant was pick 1. Joel Alvarez, Ricardo Close was pick 2, and Vitor Petrino was pick 3. And in and out the card was Josephine Knudsen versus Pierre Rodriguez that ruined everyone's parlays. If you bet on this card, you probably had a parlay ruined by Josephine Knudsen. Yeah, anything on that fight?
Yeah, just that, it ruined a couple of my parlays too. So I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the fights I was at work, so I did miss that fight. But once I saw, Nuts and loss, I wasn't too entertained about going back and watching it.
Yeah, as soon as she lost the Trace fight with her main card earlier, Pulliam, that shows you what they think of her. Yeah, I think I don't know. She's a tough sell, I think. So we have come to the moment where I have to do the unthinkable. I'm gonna eat some beans.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
God.
You gotta do them one by one too.
Bull fucking shit! I'm throwing these all in my mouth at once.
Why that? Nah, come on.
Yeah,
man.
dog. I did. You could go back, rewind it last week. I said I'm gonna throw all these beans in my mouth at one time. You know what? I'll actually save this blue one for the very last. How about that? Oh God, dude. There's 2 yellow ones, 2 orange ones, one of the dishwater ones, and a liver and onion one in here.
Oh. All right.
See all of them.
All right, you're
Oh,
going to do
shit,
one by
hold
one,
on.
correct?
No, I'm about to throw these all in my mouth at one time and chew them up. But I'm gonna chew them up. Ain't no bullshit. I ain't gonna fucking spit it out quick like I
that's what I'm
normally do.
saying. Like,
No, I'm gonna chew them all up. So be ready for me to fucking throw up this week. I'm gonna have it right here.
Dave, he had a nice chicken parm that he's gonna
Yeah,
let y'all get a view of right here.
my fiance made me a nice chicken parm for dinner, and so probably gonna eat it twice. Right here.
Yeah. He's just saving it for later. That's all it is.
Yeah, let's see where are we at.
Savor the flavor.
Hope he brought the 30-gallon bag. Dave says one by one agony. Bull fucking shit. Oh goodness. All right, this went badly. All right, you guys. There is 2 orange ones, a brown one, 2 yellow ones, and a rainbow color one that is probably dirty dishwater. So here we go.
Let's see how this goes.
See all of them in there? Oh, God.
Get it in there.
This is going to end bad. Hold on. I give some to drink first.
Dave said, hold on. I got to record this.
Oh, God. Shout out Vitor Petrino for fucking making me do this week. God damn it.
Dustin Jacoby, baby. Oh. Get your chew. Oh. Okay, yeah, I gotta give him that. Now that was a good chew. That was a good chew. Oh.
It tastes like the dirty dishwater bean so bad, D-Rose. My mouth is like filled with dirty dishwater bean.
I was about to ask if that was the dominating one.
God, it's stuck in my teeth, dude. All right, talk to the peeps, D-Rose. I'll be back.
Not all of them, man.
Hopefully, this is the toothpaste bean. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a blueberry one. Fuck.
Hey, at least you got to watch it down with that. Hey, chat. While he's going to be upset, but I still can't believe he picked Vitor Petrino to win, because that dude's definitely. Again, we're not talking about fraud check because he's already a fraud, so there was nothing to be checked. Vitor Petrino is not that good, so I can't believe he picked him. But yeah, absolutely great card, and yeah, I thought it was a badass card this past weekend. I'm not gonna lie, the card this past weekend was better than some of the pay-per-views. I'm not gonna lie. It was that good. A lot of finishes. Great fights from top to bottom. Good mic moments. So it was really a good cherry on top for the UFC calendar this year.
Dude, I don't know how to get this taste out of my mouth right now. Like, it's all in my teeth.
Brush your teeth. Oh, yeah, you're gonna have to brush your teeth, my guy.
Oh God, here we go. All right. Oh, God damn it, Dave. Oh, the parm. Yeah. 190% chance of awfulness. Yeah, that was bad. Oh goodness. Dude, my just the right side of my mouth tastes like that dirty dishwater bean, and I just
it's your favorite.
All right, so let's get into our UFC news and fight announcements segment of the week this week, right? You know, we got that to go over. We might not have fights this week, but we got some news to go over. So, with that being said, I believe this is where we left off last week, right? Jared Cannonier versus Hobo Cop.
Yeah. Yeah, we did see that one last week.
All right. So we'll move. Oh, God damn it, dude. It's like every time I taste my mouth, it's almost like the flavor seeps through my teeth of the dirty dishwater.
Yummy.
It's down in there, dude. Oh God. Oh,
Get you some
not
of
good.
that.
Not
Get
good,
you
dude.
some.
All right, dude. Here we go. We got Curtis Blades taking on Rizvan Kuniev, added to UFC Seattle. So Austin will be able to check this one out February 22nd. What's your thoughts on this? Curtis Blades taking what looks to be a UFC newcomer. Was he fought once or on the contender?
That's what I was
series?
gonna say. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not familiar with Kuniev. I can't lie. I'm not familiar with him. I mean, I'm interested to see if this fight actually even goes through, because to see Curtis Blades take on such a guy, you know, as you said, a newcomer, man, I don't know.
Yeah. God, that's gross. Hope you enjoy that. I hope you enjoy that, Austin. What
You mean
happened?
to tell me you don't want to do the beans again, man? That's crazy.
I think I'm done on the beans, zeros. All right, so we've got a fun one, dude. It don't really make a whole lot of sense, I guess, but I guess with Dricus fighting Sean Strickland, I guess I would rather see this versus, you know, like Hamzat versus Izzy. But we've got Israel Adesanya taking on Nasruddin Imavov. This is going to headline UFC Riyadh February 1st. What's your thoughts on this one, man?
This is another one that I'm curious to see if it happens. I gotta imagine that the UFC probably paid Izzy the bag, and to be fair to Izzy is like a fighter at heart. Like, you know, it is all he knows. Even in his kickboxing background, you know, he had a really good record, but he had losses on his record as well. So, you know, there are going to be times where, you know, he takes losses. He's not going to be in a championship fight every single fight, but it does feel weird to see him fighting against somebody like an Imavov that's not like a big name. You know what I mean? And maybe, you know, Izzy's bigger
But
than
he
the
is
belt at this point, but
ranked 5, though. You know, so he's right there.
yeah. And in terms of UFC ranking, yeah, it's not like he's fighting like it. It's not like he's Curtis Blades fighting a UFC newcomer or anything. But I guess I'm just so used to seeing Izzy in title fights that, you know, seeing him kind of take a step back is just interesting. Let's just say that.
Yeah, for sure. We've got a fun one, dude. MVP going to be moving up to 185 pounds to take on Shara Bullet Magomedov, and that's also going to be co-headlining UFC Riyadh February 1st. What's your thoughts on that one?
I'm really surprised that they made this happen. I mean, I know that Michael Page called for this fight in an interview, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think they were really serious about doing it because, you know, MVP's fought at middleweight his whole career welterweight for the most part in his career. I think he's fought at middleweight before, but I think it was like more than 10 years ago at this point that he's fought it at middleweight. So he's not that big of a guy in terms of weight wise. He's a tall guy. You know, he's got good reach, but in terms of like his actual size, is he a big dude? No, he's not like, you know, he's not girthy. He's not, let's just say that. He's not girthy. So yeah, I'm interested to see how their body types kind of match up, but it could be a really interesting striking battle, man. I'm interested to see how that goes, man. That could be a fun fight.
I agree. We've got Jack Farr Jenkins taking on Gabriel Santos. That's going to be UFC 312 February 8th. You care about that one at all?
Yeah, that should be I mean, it's not like I'm like, man, I got to make sure I'm watching that fight, but I mean, just in terms of how they match up, I mean, yeah, two pretty good strikers, and Jack Jenkins, we know those nasty leg kicks that he's got, so yeah, I think that's a good matchup.
And Gabriel Santos is going to be flying from Brazil to Australia. That is about as farthest flight as you can have, I believe. Here we go. We got Jared Gordon taking on Caio Fernandez. That's added to UFC Vegas 102 February 15th. Jared Gordon's still doing the damn thing, yeah?
Yeah. Still out here doing it and looking pretty, you know, still looking competitive out there for the most part too. So
knocked out Mark Manson.
Yeah, no, he looked good in that fight. I remember we both picked Mark Madison, and yeah, he absolutely snoozed Mark Madison in that fight. So yeah, still out here doing it and competitive as well. So yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the next one where we have the Big Train, Tom Nolan, taking on Vyacheslav Barshov. That's going to be UFC 312 February 8th as well. What's your immediate thoughts on that one, man?
That's pretty interesting because we've seen Tom Nolan, face a little bit of adversity. Nicholas Mota went in there and put his lights out. And Slava Claus, there's one thing that we know he could do. He's got good boxing, and Tom Nolan isn't scared to go in there and strike with you. That's for sure. But yeah, if you're going to go in there and happily exchange with somebody, Slava Claus isn't the guy to do that with. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that matches up. I know Tom Nolan's probably going to be a significant favorite, but I would not count Slava Claus at all in that fight.
Yeah, if this fight is any wider than a pick'em, I'm gonna be on the dog, dude. I don't care which side it is, because I think it should be about a pick'em either way. Just with how Slava Claus has looked over his past few fights, I mean, the getting dropped by Chase Hooper, that was just a bad look. But was he just focused on getting taken down? Maybe. But this should be a fun fight, February 8th. Oh, here we go. We've got Walter Walker taking on Don't Mays. That is added to UFC Vegas 102, February 15th. I will never forget that, D-Rose. That's how I refer to him as now. Don't bet, Don't Mays.
I'm just laughing because it's like the two absolute worst heavyweights that you could think of matching against one another, and you match them against one another. That's absolutely crazy. To see those two in a matchup, PBF, the PBF of the night right there.
I mean, Walter Walker did win his last fight via first round heel hook. He does have some finishes.
Yeah. Anyway, PBF.
Anyway, yeah, we got Esteban. Rafael Esteban taking on Jesus Aguilar. That's going to be UFC Vegas 102, February 15th. I'll never forget Jesus Aguilar turning, Shannon Ross into a chicken tender.
That's a highlight that lives in my head forever. And that's the only way I will refer to Jesus Aguilar is turning Shannon Ross into a chicken tender. So, but no, and he's actually a pretty good fighter, man. I know Esteban. I can't for some reason I'm drawing a blank on Esteban right now, but yeah, Aguilar, fun fighter, man. So I'll definitely be excited.
All right, he's a good wrestler. We got Andre Lima taking on Daniel Bareth. That is added to UFC Vegas 104, March 15th. You care about that one at all?
Yeah, that should be a solid fight, but yeah, I'm not super excited about it.
All right. We've got Vince Morales returning for his second fight in his second stint in the UFC versus Elijah Smith. Don't know who that is. UFC Vegas 102. Care about that one?
Yeah, I think his dad, he just fought on the Contender Series this past year. Elijah Smith. I think his dad was his coach. I think he's like EJ Elijah Smith Jr. It was a pretty fun fight.
He didn't look that great, but he was a pretty big favorite, I think, right?
Yeah, he started high, and then he fought the dude who had the face paint shit.
I know what you're talking about. Oh, toes up, Aaron Tao.
There you go. Yep, there you go. Yeah, it was that, and that was actually a really good fight. It was a fun fight. Yeah. So, and yeah, Elijah Smith brought it too. So yeah, I'll be excited to watch him.
Yeah. Here we go. We got Modestas Bukauskas taking on Rafael Kinsekera. That's February 22nd. That's the Seattle card. So shout out Austin. He'll be checking out this one. You care about this fight though?
No.
Me either. I'm sorry you have to watch this, Austin. We got Waldo Cortez Acosta taking on Ryan Spann, heavyweight. Ryan Spann moving up to heavyweight. UFC Vegas 104, March 15th.
I mean, Brian Spann could fight at heavyweight. I mean, he's absolutely huge at 205. So I can imagine the speed advantage that he's going to have over a lot of the guys up at heavyweight as well. So yeah, I could definitely see him having some success against the lower level guys, but Waldo Cortez Acosta can crack too, and he's pretty quick. So yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And it's wild just to know that Trevin Giles beat all these dudes, and he's losing fights down at 170 now. Like,
wait, he beat Waldo Cortez Acosta?
No, he beat Span, Delidze, like all the way down at 170 and losing fights. What's happening? All right, so it is that time. Hopefully you guys have, enjoyed the fights over the year. We are done talking about the fights and the fight news, but it has come to this special time of the year where me and D Rose give our thoughts and opinions on who we think is deserving of a Golden Octagon of the Year award, if you will. So for the past few years, me and D Rose have done these. We started it in 2021. I don't know if we had the show in 2022 because we did take a little break there, so I'm not sure. But we for sure did it last year, and we're for sure doing it right now because I spent a whole bunch of time earlier getting this together. So before we get into it, we start giving out our awards. Let's go through the chat one last time. Where are we at? Where am I at? Am I highlighted somewhere?
Let's see.
Oh, I don't know where I was at. I'm sorry if I missed one of you, but yeah, here we go. I hope MVP smokes that through that sharp bullet. How do you guys feel about Tom Nolan after seeing his rookie year in UFC? I don't feel the greatest about him, to be honest. What about you, D-Rose?
Yeah, I mean he looks okay so far. So I want to see more from him before I'm ready to call him somebody to look out for just yet.
Got you. Brian going up to heavyweight's a bad idea. He's going to get KO'd. He got KO'd by light heavyweights. Kennedy did as well. So I guess we'll see though.
They're going to have the speed advantage, though, because a lot of the dudes at heavyweight, like that is one thing that Daniel Cormier said time and time again, that the advantage of fighting at 205 or the advantage of fighting at heavyweight versus 205 is the speed advantage that he had over all those guys. Because even though he was a lot smaller, DC he was a lot faster than his opponents, and he was able to take advantage of that. And I think Span could do the same thing.
Gotcha. I don't care. I don't know if that happens. And if so, it's not going to be like a real thing. It'll be a fucking scripted thing.
It'll be an exhibition.
Yeah. I'm requesting Matt wears nail polish for his next hobby rip. I'll see what I can do, that thingy sack. I'll see what I can do. So with that being said, let's get into these awards, D-Rose. So I've crafted up this slideshow earlier today. Let me take off this little banner, or actually let me put the banner going across the bottom. That way we can have it up still. How about that? 2024 TGO MMA Awards. So let's get into it. As you see, D Rose is right there on the right, and I'm on the left. So I believe we are starting off, D Rose, with our event of the year. So I guess the way I will run it is I'll talk about my event of the year for a second, and then I'll pull it off the screen, and then I'll pop yours up, and then you can talk about it. Sound good?
Cool.
All right. So with that being said, my 2024 event of the year is Noche UFC. I do have to say I am a little bit biased. So UFC 306 for me, and it was a lot of because it was an event that I got to go to. For one, it was my first pay-per-view. It was in the Sphere. It was sick being in there. So my very biased opinion is UFC 306, but it was just because I was able to be in the Sphere. So that takes it for me. Our only rule to this was, hey, don't pick UFC 300. Me and D-Rose kind of just did agree on it, and that's just what Antoine's saying. My event of the year was 300, but 306 was honorable mention, and mine was 306. So without any further ado, D-Rose, what do you think about my pick of the year? Was it worthy for being pay-per-view or event of the year?
Well, you're going to have a little more sentimental value towards UFC Noche because obviously you went to the event. It's supposed to be a one-time event for the UFC, so that's something in history, that you're going to be able to say that you're a part of. And if they don't go to the sphere for a few years or whatnot, you can at least say, hey, I went to the very first one. So yeah, I can understand why that holds a lot of sentimental value. And plus, there were a lot of banger of fights on that card too. I know that it ended a little bit slowly with the last two fights, but if you look on the rest of that card down, I know we'll talk about some of those fights coming up. But man, there were a lot of bangers on that card. I know Zellhuber and Rivovic was a great fight. Ignacio Bahamondes had a great performance. Josh
Rene versus Norman Dumont was a good fight too.
Rene, that was an absolute banger. So yeah, there were a lot of bangers. Ode Osborne, Ronaldo Rodriguez. So a lot of good fights in that card. So yeah, and I can understand why you definitely chose that.
All right. So moving on, D-Rose. Want to talk about yours?
Yeah. So for me, of course, as we said, we wanted to say that 300 was off the table because I think we can all very well say that 300 was it. But let's try to spice it up a little bit here. And for me, it was UFC 305. I will say that was one of the cards that we actually ended up live streaming this year. And I actually had a good time live streaming that card together. It was actually a really fun card when you actually go back and look at that card. A lot of good performances. Obviously, Dricus du Plessis with the fight against Izzy. Obviously Izzy being my favorite fighter, but and also as well, that was a really good fight. Like, dude, if you go back to that fight, like, dude, there were moments where Izzy was just literally standing in the pocket and just was ripping Dricus with just nasty body shots, kicks and punches. There was even points in time where Dricus said during the fight that he had to try to take Izzy down because he was not wanting to get kicked by Izzy anymore. So it was a really fun fight. Kai Kara France had the knockout over Steve Erceg. That was kind of his comeback fight. Mateusz Gamrot versus Dan Hooker, banger of a fight. Carlos Prates really made his name known with a big KO over the Leech when the Leech is my guy. But that was a good performance from him there as well. So it was a really good card from top to bottom, especially on that main card. And for me, UFC 305 is the card of the year for me.
Yeah, lots of good moments on there. Almost got picked for my submission of the year, Dricus over Izzy, but I was like, there's just one that stands out a little bit more to me. But before we get to the submission of the year, let's get to the knockout of the year. So my 2024 Golden Octagon knockout of the year belongs to none other than Max Blessed Holloway. Oh man, how can there's only a few options here, and for me it was just everything that happened here. This was Justin Gaethje never really being like flatline. He would get like stumbled around here and there and call the guy on, but just Max Holloway pointing down the last 10 seconds and then just fucking swinging, and then literally the last second just clipping Justin Gaethje around the chin and face planting him, dude. That was one of those holy shit moments that Dana White always loves talking about. I sell holy shit moments, and that was one of them. That was one of the holy shit moments where I was like, dude, I cannot believe that that just happened. Like, he gave Justin Gaethje a chance, like, hey, I'm gonna come out here and swing bombs with you. You got a chance to knock me out, and then just fucking snoozes Gaethje. So that was my knockout of the year. I'm sure you were close to picking that one as well, but I'm sure you probably thought I was gonna pick that one. So
yeah, that's kind of on the that's the one. So I did want to try to get just a little bit different here because, I think, consensus can say that. But for me was Vinicius Oliveira with his flying knee over Bernardo Sopai. And I'll say, like, during this fight, this was actually like a pretty competitive fight for the most part, even though Sopai was taking the fight on short notice. And that fight was 1-1 there in that third round. And Vinicius Oliveira was doing everything he could to basically bite down in that third round to take advantage of the scorecards and try to win that fight. And it's 10 seconds left in that fight, and he throws a leg kick to a left hook combo and sends Bernardo Sopai kind of stumbling across the octagon. Like, Bernardo Sopai's leg is dead, and he's beat up, and he's against the fence. And for Vinicius Oliveira just to come in and throw that flying knee, I mean, dude, it was absolutely nasty. No follow-up was necessary. Bernardo Sopai felt like a tree getting chopped down. Like, just the way he crumpled and fell, it was absolutely crazy. Made me jump out of my seat when I was watching it, man. Absolutely sick knockout from Vinicius Oliveira. So yeah, that flying knee was nasty, and that was my knockout of the year.
Right here. I said, do we have a problem? Huh?
I don't want any problems.
And he hit him with that. He hit Bernardo Sopai with that rocket, dude. It was absolutely brutal.
Indeed.
Loke dog.
Loke dog. Who do you guys think Buckley's fight next? I hope he fights Ian Gary next. That's just me. D Rose, here you go. There you go.
Yo, what's going on? What's up? Don't be asking about no situations or nothing like that. Hey, but hey, we trying to keep the unity here. But what's up? What's up nonetheless?
All right. So we'll move on to the submission of the year. And for me, it was none other than Khamzat Boris Chimaev over the Reaper, Robert Whittaker. I'm sure probably a lot of you guys' submission of the year. And I don't know if you didn't think about this one, D Rose, or if this one didn't pop in your head immediately, or if you were just Matt's for sure going to pick that one because Matt called that to happen. But yeah, Khamzat broke Robert Whittaker's teeth pretty much with ease too. Just made it look easy. I don't know how this isn't submission of the year for most people, but what's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, dude, absolutely sick submission. And that was one that I was not ready for. So I didn't want that to happen. Robert Whittaker is my guy. Yeah, and obviously it's a sick submission, but hated to see Robert Whittaker on the other end of that. So I didn't want to I didn't want to put that out there to say, hey, obviously sick submission. I had a feeling you were going to go that way, which is why I tried to go off the beaten path as well. But I could definitely understand. For me, I chose the Sergey Spivak triangle armbar against Marcin Tybura. I mean, for me, I will say the card for this, I remember we talked about that card going in as being one of the worst cards ever, and it played out as that. But that submission, I will say, that was so unique for a heavyweight to be able to just lock in that triangle, kind of flip in the armbar like that, and the split position so quick. And Marcin Tybura tapped with the quickness, so that's how you know that Sergey Spivak really had that lock on tight. And yeah, for him to be able to pull that triangle off like that quickly in between a punch that Tybura was trying to throw, because Tybura was trying to land some ground and pound as he was sitting in full guard of Sergey Spivak, and Sergey Spivak turned that full guard into an armbar. It was nasty work, man. So good work from Sergey Spivak there with the submission, and that's my submission of the year.
Yeah, fair enough. So those are the awards that everyone has for the most part. So there's I want to throw a little curveball in here. Probably not one that everyone has, but how about comeback of the year, D Rose? And I thought for sure you were going to take this when you asked me, is this your comeback of the year? And I was like, no, definitely not. My comeback of the year is none other than one of your favorite fighters. And had a hell of a comeback this year. It is Money Moicano over the tarantula Jalen Turner, dude. When Jalen Turner pretty much killed Money Moicano in the first round and wanted the walk-off KO. But, I think it was it Herzog that didn't stop it, or was it Keith Peterson?
Herb Dean.
I don't know. Herb Dean that didn't stop it. And then
yeah, he's right
dude,
there. Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah, fucking like right there, right in front of my face. But yeah, Herb Dean didn't stop it, and then Money Moicano can't afford to lose and comes back and ends up just breaking Jalen Turner, dude. And yeah, it showed us all that he cannot afford to lose, Zeros. And yeah, Money Moicano dude, he's just going to fight. He's just keep winning until he fights for the championship now. Like, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And he's got a good matchup coming up too, man, against Benny D. I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm like, dude, I'm all in on Moicano going for the title. Like, I'm all in on it, man. I love to see it. I highly doubt he wins it, but dude, he's absolutely entertaining. So yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I was going between two. So the reason why I asked you about one was because I was thinking you was going to go with this one. So again, I wanted to make sure we had different picks in this category as well. And for this one, I did choose Neil Magny over Mike Malott. And I will say it because I know there was a lot of people who got their bets burned by Mike Malott, myself included that night. Myself included. I definitely had a Mike Malott round 3 decision in a couple of different parlays. And yeah, that absolutely burned me. I mean, Mike Malott is just pounding Neil Magny within the first 2 rounds. I think he even dropped Neil Magny at a certain point. Now in the second round, you can see Mike Malott starting to lose a little bit of steam with his wrestling and stuff. But there in the third round, you can see he's just desperately trying to hang on. Mike Malott is. And Neil Magny's able to get the takedown of his own. And once he did, Mike Malott had no energy. And Neil Magny just went on a ground and pound tear until he was able to complete the comeback. And what was my comeback of the year? Because, yeah, Neil Magny, I mean, it was all against him until that third round. And he was able to come back, storm back, and get that ground and pound for the win. So that was my comeback of the year.
Yeah. Hopefully he gets a title shot next year. Or talking about Izzy. Buy singles from UFC Card Store. We got Lush Lamana. What's up, guys? I'm super late, but better late than never. We appreciate you stopping by tonight, Lush. Good seeing your face good seeing your name in here. Good seeing your face in here.
What's up, Lush?
I don't see your face in here.
What up?
But we appreciate you stopping by tonight, Lush. You are the man. So with that being said, we'll move on to our next pick, which I believe is Fight of the Year. So this was another one where I have biases because I was in the building. And I have this in my vlog. This is like the intro to my Noche UFC vlog, but it is Esteban Ribovics versus Daniel Zellhuber, and that shit was a banger, dude. Zellhuber landed about a 30-piece combination. I'm sorry, Esteban Ribovics landed about a 30-piece combination on Daniel Zellhuber, and somehow didn't knock him down. Daniel Zellhuber was still stumbling around. I was way up there in the 300 section in the sphere. And, dude, the entire sphere was just like, oh, my God. Like, oh, like it was nuts in there, dude. Watching this fight, it was so sick. Dude, I still need to go back to watch the pay-per-view actually like on the TV because I still haven't watched it on the TV yet, if I'm going to be completely honest. But, yeah, that was just one hell of a time. I had a blast that night. Yeah. My fight of the year is Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovics.
Yeah, absolute banger. Absolute banger. I cannot argue with you there. That third round is absolutely nuts, but I know a lot of people were pumped up about that fight because of the third round. But dude, even if I said it the time after the fight, and I'll say it again, even during those first 2 rounds, with it being kind of a technical chess match, it was still entertaining because they were both still being super technical, but they were brawling at the same time. Like, it was a technical brawl. And that third round, they just kind of let it all hang out there. And yeah, dude, absolutely fun fight. Probably should have been stopped there in the third round, but led to more dramatics there towards the end. Zellhuber was able to actually keep his feet and fight back. So banger of a fight for sure.
Like apparently Dave didn't hear how we how he started the podcast. Yeah, Dave, me and D Rose started off the podcast talking about it, and it was like D stands for don't get abducted by the drones. Like that's what it
mean,
that's what the
mean the aliens. You mean the aliens now.
And Antoine's fight of the year was Aldana versus Carol Hosa. That was another banger. And you mentioned that way earlier, like in the year, like, dude, that's an early candidate for fight of the year with between Aldana and Carol Hosa.
I thought that was the end of last year, though.
I don't know. It could have been, but
I think that was December last year.
Yeah,
Hosa and Aldana.
I think it was because I think that may have been one of our fights of the year last year.
Yeah. I think it was. I think so. It was on the last card of the year, and I remember. So when we were doing the awards, we ended up making a category like male fight of the year, female fight of the year, because we didn't want to exclude that fight because it was such a banger. So I actually do.
Makes sense.
I actually do remember that.
All right, we'll move on to yours.
Yeah. But for me, it definitely has to be Dan Hooker versus Mateusz Gamrot. Of course, Pick Champ was on the line on this. Hey, we're live streaming the fight. I put a little live bet on Dan Hooker as well. So I had a lot invested on this, and yeah, dude, this was an absolute banger. Nervous about the fight because I was thinking that Dan Hooker was probably going to go in there and honestly probably get taken down and controlled all 3 rounds. Dude, his takedown defense was lights out during the fight. But I will say, Mateusz Gamrot, I don't know if the UFC got in his head in the fight or before the fight and said, "Hey, you need to start putting on bangers." But he, of course, there in the 3rd round, he tried to get takedowns. But in the 1st round, he dropped Dan Hooker with a short jab. In the 2nd round, he was throwing some heat there as well and ended up busting up Dan Hooker pretty well. This was an absolute back and forth slugfest. That was, my heart was pumping the whole time watching this fight. You can go back and watch us watching this fight together. Everybody's watching me. I'm rubbing my hands. I'm all giddy. I'm shaking because I'm like, just absolutely juiced about that fight, man. So for me, it was Dan Hooker versus Mateusz Gamrot for the fight of the year.
Fair enough. Card breaks while hosting this content would be aces. Yeah, that would be a lot going on. This fight was cool because EBT super confident out of nowhere. I really should have been 5 rounds. Everybody thought super competitive. Yeah. I actually ended up pick flipping on that fight too, and ended up going for Hooker. Like, I actually had a bet on him. Do you guys think Peyton Talbot will win at UFC 311? Yes. I don't think UFC is not really going to test him too much for a little bit, in my opinion. But here we go. We'll move on to our next category, which is breakout fighter of the year. And for me, it was one pick and one pick only. You guys know who it is. It's none other than Diego Lopez, baby. Man, they just so damn entertaining. Shot out of a cannon. Loves the fight. Just came out this year. I mean, he showed up the end of last year, but, lost. And then I don't know, showed up last year, but, didn't really make a huge impact. But this year, dude, 2024, I think it was kind of the year of Diego Lopez. Yeah, and I know you have one here, and I don't disagree with you because that entire team is on fire. But I know you don't hate my pick, so I'll go ahead and just pull yours up on the screen, and I'll let you talk about it, D-Rose.
Yeah. For me, the breakout fighter of the year for me would definitely have to go to Carlos Prates. I mean, for me, and again on that what I thought was the event of the year, he really won me over when he knocked out the leash like that. I mean, for anybody to put out the leash the way that he did, I mean, that power is just absolutely insane. As you said, the whole Fighting Nerds gym is on an outbreak right now, just taking over the sport. And for Carlos Prates, dude, that left hand is an absolute stick of dynamite and is ready to explode on anybody that gets in the octagon with him. For him, he went 4-0 this year, 4 KOs. He KO'd Trevin Giles, Charles Radke, The Leech, and Neil Magny from February through November. So that's a pretty busy schedule. And for him to put out all those guys in sick fashion, he's Carlos Prates turned a lot of heads this year, and I'm gonna be expecting a lot out of him coming within the next year or two.
I agree, dude. He is a very, very good fighter. So we will move on to our next category, which is one that we had to split up into two because we can't really do fighter of the year and leave out the females, dude, because although it's hard, dude, there's a lot of really good female fights, and I know there's a lot of WMMA haters that are going to come in the chat and be like, this sucks, this, and this, but dude, some of the fights that I have made the most money on are WMMA fights, so it just is what it is, dude. I just love to watch it. It just seems to be like, oh, I could see that happening. And sure enough, it happened. So for me, my female fighter of the year is none other than the undefeated in 2024. And she's still got that license of being a CDL driver. Give me Norma Dumont to be my 2024 female fighter of the year, dude. And truly, I'm going to say it right now, Kayla Harrison does not beat Norma Dumont. She loses to Norma Dumont. I am stating that right here. If Kayla Harrison versus Norma Dumont gets made, bet your money on Norma Dumont to win that fight because she will win that fight. What's your thoughts on Big Norm as my female fighter of the year?
Yeah, that's not a Big Norm. That's not a bad pick. I think she's really starting to come into her own now. I think early on in the UFC, people didn't really have too high hopes for her. And did she lose? Was it Megan Anderson that she had lost to?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
she got knocked out by her.
Yeah, she got smoked by Megan Anderson was what it was. And I think a lot of people were, kind of doubting Norma Dumont, coming in, but she's really turned herself around and put together a pretty good win streak, and she looked well the whole time, getting better each fight. And I am with you that she's in the top 5 for a reason in that division. And dude, she's probably one fight away from the title. Yeah, I had to say she looks that good here lately. So it's a good pick.
Hell yeah. And we got Lush saying, I'm super excited for this year. Dana said multiple times UFC is going to Chicago, and that's super close to me, going to be my first event. If they go to Chicago, I think that'd be a cool one to go to. I might see you there, Lush. That thing he sacked 4 hours outside of Chicago. Shama breakout fight. I mean, breakout fighter of the year would be someone that wasn't really known too much last year that is known this year. And if you didn't know Alex Pereira last year, you may have been living next door to Alex Pereira and under a rock, and your name might be Patrick. The think Prates could beat JDM. That's a good fight. Yeah,
I mean, dude, with that power, Prates can beat anybody. Like, that's the problem. Like, he can beat anybody because who's going to withstand that? Who's going to be able to withstand that power? Not a lot of people.
Yeah. All right. Antoine's correct. So, with that being said, D-Rose, we'll move on to your female fighter of the year. So, without any further ado.
Yeah, well, I'll say Jasmine Jasovicius is my female fighter of the year. I will say, she did end up having that loss to Tracy Cortez last year. And it was kind of a rough fight. Now she was able to come back a little bit there in the third round.
But I did think for the fight too. That was the wild.
I will say that Tracy Cortez did what she had to do to win that fight. But Jasmine Jasovicius came into this year, a lot of people were kind of booing her. myself included, that I've doubted her multiple times, but she came in this year with 2 finishes. As someone who, I said that she's not really that great with getting finishes. Of course, she submitted Priscilla Cachoeira. Priscilla Cachoeira, she can't gouge your eyes out. She will. She'll get submitted. So that was a good submission for her there. She fought Fatima Klein on short notice. Ended up getting a pretty valiant win against her there, and then got the nice finish against I keep forgetting that she switched her last name to Da Silva, Ariane Da Silva. Getting that win against her. Getting the submission as well there late in the fight, putting the finishes together now for Jasmine Jasovicius, 3-0 in the UFC this year as well. And I think she's really made a turn with the fans to get the fans on her side. So for me, it's Jasmine Jasovicius for the female fighter of the year.
All right, and moving on to the last category here for our male fighter of the year. So last category for me, it's the champ. It's only the champ. He had a huge year. Knocked out a person that's never been knocked out before, and won the belt as well. So give me Ilia Topuria as our 2024 male fighter of the year. That's the champ, baby. And I will proudly say I called that shit all the way. I did pick against them one time in a fight that I didn't want to. I've said it when I picked against them. My gut tells me that Ilia Topuria, smokes Bryce Mitchell, but my heart picks Thug Nasty. That is the only fight that I've picked against Ilia. And to be honest, man, Bryce, looking back on that fight, Bryce having the flu, he is some pretty solid boxing defense against Ilia Topuria, dude. So, that's a fight in the future that I wouldn't mind seeing.
Topuria down.
Right.
He took Topuria down too.
Yeah, so in the future, that's maybe not a fight that I wouldn't mind seeing, but I don't know if we see Ilia at 145 because he's talking about moving up to 155. So I guess we'll see. So that is my 2024 male fighter of the year, D-Rose. I see a lot of people in the chat calling for it. Do you give them what they want? Do you give them what they want with their male fighter of the year?
My male fighter of the year is none other than Shama himself, Alex Pereira. The man himself, the absolute assassin that he is, coming in and saving the UFC in multiple occasions, saving UFC 300, saving UFC 303, and then saving the Utah card. What was it, 307? So for him to have that quick of a turnaround, and in all of his title fights, and most of those were because all of the main event for this card is scrambled. Hey, Alex Pereira, can you step in on short notice to try to fight somebody? To come in and put Jamal Hill out the way he did. Of course, that was a highlight reel within itself to get the hold on Herb Dean. I'm good. I don't need no intervention. And then come through with the left hook to put Yuri down the way he did, to beat Yuri worse than he did in the first fight. And then for Khalil, that fight was an absolute banger as well. You actually look back on that fight, Khalil had a really good performance, but it was a fun fight. And then for Alex Pereira to put on that finish that he did against Khalil in the third round, just for what he did for me, Ilia Topuria did have the knockout against Volk and the knockout against Max, but I think the difficulty for Pereira to constantly make weight, to get ready to make championship fights on continuous short notice, that's something that's super different tough, man. And to me, that's why he's my fighter of the year.
Yeah, man. I don't hate it. I figured most people would probably pick Alex. So I mean, for me, it was one of those two. But I'm surprised you didn't mention the one main thing about him dominating Yuri, but then just catching Jamal, because we can't forget that one.
The simple breakdown, according to Jamal Hill, the simple breakdown of getting caught versus getting dominated makes perfect sense.
Oh goodness, I love it. I think Ilia is going to retire before he is 30. Would you guys have Islam versus Ilia? I think Islam's too big. Islam's a big guy.
Yeah.
Alex came in at 34, absolute superstar. I imagine is he calling this guy and seeing his stardom afterwards? Yeah. I think it was Pereira's year in terms of public eye, but there wasn't a harder working champion this year. I mean, he is just carrying the UFC on his back at this point. I agree. All right, and Jamal coming off serious injury. Just say.
Hey, I sadly picked Jamal Hill going into that fight. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I wasn't thinking that Jamal Hill had a shot, because I said, hey, you know, Alex Pereira can't get hit sometimes. And hey, you know, up those heavier weight classes, you get hit once. Hey, you know, it's all fair game. And yeah, Alex made light work of that and made me look very stupid very quickly. So yeah, I can't keep picking against him, even though I did pick Khalil as well. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's what it was.
Like Neil, we're not making fun of Jamal getting knocked out. It's more of just his reaction and his reasoning after getting knocked out. Like, bro, you still lost. Like, you trying to like reason that your knockout wasn't as bad as someone else's knock. It doesn't matter. You both still lost. You know, like it's just like you're talking about a point that doesn't even matter at that. You know, I picked Hill Tootie just because he's got to get back in there. If I'm not mistaken, the lines were close to even too. I believe they were. But yeah, that's it. That is the Golden Octagon in 2024. Unless Lush magically just has the numbers, but I'm not gonna hold his feet to the fire, because he did get a new job and, you know, wasn't here every single week the last few months of the year. But I do know for most of the year, Lush had track of all of our picks and such, D-Rose. But I wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't have all of them. But for next year, a few changes that I would like to make here on the podcast, D-Rose. I would like to have you make your own Tapology profile, so you can just make your picks. So that way, at the end of the year, they're just there. You know, like we have everything like ready to go, and the exact percentage of the fights that we got right, because I started like fucking making mine, like I think after I got back from Jamaica, and so far like it's so good about like just exact percentages of like fucking everything. So I think this upcoming year I'm gonna get you to make your Tapology profile. So like we'll have exact numbers on who did the best at the end of the year and all of that. And I think there's going to be a change to cheddar this upcoming year too. I would like to have D-Rose here every Friday for change of cheddar, but with a little different setup. And I'll talk to you off the show about it, D-Rose. I was kind of thinking about it for the past few weeks. So, but we'll get into it. But with that being said, we appreciate all of you guys, you know, for hanging out with us this whole year. You know, whether you came in here at the end of the year, beginning of the year, the whole year, maybe this is your first time here. We appreciate you either way. Thank you all very much for all the support this entire year. But it's going to be about a month away. And then me and D-Rose will be back here, you know, before the first event of the year, basically telling you guys fighters to watch out for, and then making our picks for the first fight card of the year. Anything you want to say, D-Rose?
Shout out to Tangy, man. Shout out to Tangy. He getting there to do his thing. So if I'm helping secure it like that, hey man, I got to I'll play my part as a teammate. Let's do it.
All right.
That's crazy, man. Y'all wild. We love y'all boys though. Hey, we love you. We love y'all sticking around and listening. So yeah, we definitely appreciate it. We just be sitting up here babbling all the time, and you know, I talk to Matt about it all the time too. Sometimes I just be sitting up, just be, you know, kind of rambling about nothing. Sometimes get caught talking in a circle, but you know, we appreciate y'all even sticking around for our blunders and our BS and all this stuff. And hopefully, looking to bigger and better come next year.
Yeah, hell yeah. It'll be fun. Got some new stuff planned, and it's going to be fun. I promise you guys. But with that being said, yeah, from me on my side, stay tuned for a whole bunch of UFC cards coming out. I don't know if you can see it currently, but got a whole bunch of gold label up here ready to rip over the next few weeks, and my end of year card video going to be coming out either right after Christmas or right around New Year's. Already starting to get products for that. I already got my midnights in for that, so that's cool. Got my Chrome Mega in. I got some Chrome Blasters in. Just really waiting on Chrome Hobby and Knockout, which Knockout has gone up quite a bit of money. It's like over $300 a box. I didn't want to pay that much, so not happy about that. But stay tuned for that video. Would be around in between Christmas and New Year's, somewhere like that. But lots of other gold label will be here on the channel. Seeing, what I get with all that shit. But with that being said, once again, truly thank you guys for all the support over this year, over the past few years, and on into the future. We got plenty to look forward to. So with that being said, me and D-Rose gonna hop off here. You guys all have if you guys want to buy some UFC cards from me, there's some UFC cards on my eBay. Thanks, Lush. I truly do appreciate it. And we got Niels and Shama, and that's Matt's eBay. So with that being said, thank you all very much. Hope you all have a fantastic holiday season, Christmas, New Year's, whatever you celebrate. Thank you for all the support for this whole year. And with that being said, Solid Six popping up in here. Merry Christmas to the brothers, Matt D-Rose.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up. All y'all popping in here on the last show of the year. Stay safe, guys. For real. Hell yeah. We appreciate all y'all. We appreciate it. Thank y'all all for stopping by here, hanging out with us here tonight. Me and D-Rose going to get off here because if not, we're just going to keep rambling. So with that being said, this is the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. My name is Matt D-Rose on that side of the screen. The D this week stands for drone, and y'all stay safe. Y'all have Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and we will catch you guys next year. Peace.